important because, well, I mean, we talked about it last weekend. They played against Rogue, and they needed to get that win. And now that they lost, they have to get an upset. And this match is even more important than ever.
But out of the big three, G2 looks the most mortal out of any of them.
Mortal. I like that word. It's a great way to describe G2.
And quickly, Nose Dude, with just a few seconds into the match, gets the first goal for Splyce.
I think he heard everybody talking and saying no against them because coming out with speed, Nose Dude flying through the defense and getting a great angle shot.
And that demo setting it up. So Splyce quickly get out to a lead in game one. JNaps with a demo of his own. Rizzo, stopped by J-Wiz. Nose Dude to the side. JNaps getting beat by that challenge, but it pops up to Rizzo. Rizzo back over to JNaps. JNaps off the corner. Rizzo couldn't get the hit. Now counterattack led by Wizmont.
Ooh, a fake.
J-Wiz passing that ball out. Karma going for the control. Touch to Nose Dude, and Nose Dude gets denied by Chicago.
What a save from Chicago, managing to still get in the air after Nose Dude completely maintained possession. That was a great save.
That save, a critical one. Making sure G2's only down by one. JNaps taking time in the corner. J-Wiz with the boost steal and the demo attempt. Chicago going for a clear, powers it through, and now Nose Dude will have to take over. Rizzo preventing the clear, still in the Splyce half. Nose Dude down into the midfield. JNaps taking over. Chicago trying to get a touch on it, but it not working out. Karma down the sideline. Chicago couldn't reach it. Now up to JNaps. JNaps pops it up. J-Wiz up in the air, sends it over to the side. Couldn't get a second touch. Rizzo's gonna leave it for Chicago. Now Chicago bouncing it down. Karma with a miss. And a good challenge from Chicago. Rizzo almost 50-50ing that ball through. JNaps, the ball popping up towards the mid. Chicago gets in J-Wiz's way. Now Chicago centers to Rizzo. Rizzo off the backboard hard. But nobody there. Nose Dude takes his time. Good patience from Splyce there.
Lots of defensive just rotations coming out from Splyce. G2 is dominant on this field, but Splyce are not letting up. They're getting solid clears. That's a great demo from JNaps.
The demo from JNaps, and Nose Dude had to dodge JNaps as well, and he did and was able to get that save. But pressure from G2 finally starting to come out. Karma, first touch in the air, shut down by Chicago. Rizzo, lofting shot. JNaps drops it down to Chicago. Chicago blocked by Karma. As we approach just 2 minutes left on the clock. Nose Dude downfield right to Rizzo. Rizzo hard off to the side. JNaps off the backboard. Nobody was there to follow up. Excellent speed from Splyce so far, meeting G2 at all of these challenges.
Right, and they're finding great contests as well. Whenever they challenge, it seems like they're winning almost every single 50-50 right now, which helps them keep pressure and also have the opportunity to take the other team's boost, because after a challenge, you can just walk into their corner and take it because you already won it. You don't need to get back.
And right now, Splyce maintaining this lead, but it is a very slim margin. No room for mistakes. JNaps off the backboard. Nose Dude does make a mistake, but bailed out. Follow-up from JNaps, and G2 are able to equalize.
Nose Dude, very important miss. Made Karma have to get a challenge and try and win a 50-50, but JNaps was unfortunately in that position for Karma. And that's a good capitalize for G2.
Yeah, G2 able to take over on that mistake. And Splyce was playing such a solid game up to that point. Now we're tied up, final minute. JNaps off the ceiling. Nose Dude taking his time, beats Chicago. Air dribbling this one. Karma coming in. She missed that ball, but Nose Dude gets a bump. Nose Dude low on boost. Sends it to the G2 corner. It's going to stick with this one. No boost. Gets the bump on Rizzo.
And lots of defensive clears from G2. It seems like they just won't let up a mistake.
Oh, J-Naps. A self-pass. Let's take a look at him. Or Chicago actually got that and got bumped out of the way. I thought J-Naps hit that from the angle. But J-Naps with a tough angle finds his mark.
I think he saw the difficult shot that Chicago had. He got the hit, and he couldn't get the follow-up. And J-Naps, really great observational skills to realize that he needs to come in and take the shot in place of Chicago there.
So G2 wait until the final minutes to make their move. Rizzo staying with it. No, he bails out, leaves it for Chicago.
Keep the ball up if you're Splyce.
They're going to have to. They've done it before versus Ghost. And that one kept out, but it hits the ground, and G2 will take game number 1. And Turtle, Achieves was talking about the goal differentials. NRG, what, 29? Cloud9, 21? G2 5.
Yep.
And now, again, it wasn't convincing, but they're getting the wins,
Look,
so it doesn't really matter.
They just like keeping it close. I don't think it really comes down to huge specifics like that, because G2 somehow manages to get shots like this in. J-Naps coming through over Chicago, realizes that he needs to get this shot in. Look at this. Chicago gets bumped out the way. J-Naps is like, all right, I'll take it from here.
Yeah, and that's definitely not an easy shot, especially when Karma's there in net. You know, it was just such a quick shot. Karma just didn't react in time.
Right.
But it was a tough angle. Perhaps Karma even waiting for the pass. Like maybe she thought J-Naps was going to go for a hit off the back or off the wall.
Maybe even just a pinch.
Yeah.
At that angle, you just don't even assume somebody's going to go for a shot. But G2, I think they just like making things entertaining for us. I mean, that's
that was definitely entertaining coming down to the final moments. But you know, this was a situation where Splyce controlled the majority of that game. It was not until the very end in which G2 kicked it into high gear. And really the only reason G2 got back into it was because of that mistake by Nose Dude when he wasn't able to get that read off the backboard. Had Nose Dude gotten that read, it might have been a completely different game.
And it's demoralizing, especially against a team like G2. You want to get an upset and you want to play the best you can. So just making simple mistakes like that, especially against a team that you can't, is really where things start to get demoralizing, and you might get in your head a little bit, especially if you're Nose Dude.
Yeah, but overall, still a solid performance from Splyce in game 1. Almost got that win. See if they can continue to hang with G2. And the center, oh, look at the center and the shot from this Chicago, hammering this pass into the net.
Rizzo with a complete 90-degree angle center, and Chicago booming it. It was so fast you couldn't even get the save off, just redirected it.
A blistering shot from Chicago. And again, great passing. But a response there from Karma. J-Naps able to get the save. Strong shot, almost finding its target.
And with a lot of those cross-pitch clears and passes, you really want to try and hit it as fast as you can. You saw Rizzo get such a speedy pass across. It leaves the defenders of Splyce almost no chance to intercept it unless they can predict it.
That is a tough situation to be in. G2, the freestyle coming out, and J-Naps gets the goal.
Absolute confidence. It really helps you in the air. I don't know how to explain it, but J-Naps,
I mean, what was the purpose of that?
I mean, look, there's not
confidence.
a lot of exactly. You're kind of making a statement here, James. That's what you want to do.
I love it. No, and I know there's definitely situations where, you know, going for that spin and boost at the same time, it allows you to do the slight adjustments in the air. But I think right there was just a moment of style.
From a player's perspective, whenever you're in free play and you're practicing a lot of these redirects, it gets so boring that you just end up spinning. So in game, if you can practice how you play and put off those spins, it helps you, and it honestly makes you feel a little bit more comfortable.
And he looked comfortable there. Complete control right from takeoff. J-Naps and G2. And JNAP's beating
Solo
multiple
play.
defenders here before Jwiz finally shuts him down. Nose Dude will take over. Center ball to Karma, but Chicago breaks up the play.
Up so
Chicago
fast.
going for the dunk. Stop from Rizzo, sends it up. JNAP's with the win. Now the follow-up, bouncing out to Rizzo. Rizzo off the backboard, and Nose Dude was there. But you're right, G2's speed, frightening.
Especially Chicago, a player who's very known to be just insanely fast. He hits the ball up and instantly pops up to at least get a challenge, which helps keep possession and honestly can, you know, definitely make some great opportunities for G2.
G2, this game looking much different than game one. Back pass, Nose Dude. Didn't get the first touch. We'll see if they get punished for that. JNAP's in the corner, gets the stop, gets bumped by his own teammate as well, so Rizzo will be the last one back. JNAP's with a quick turn. Almost brute forcing that one in. Approaching the 2-minute mark. Chicago on the prowl, waiting to see what JNAP's does with this. Chicago up, is going to get, it's not there in time. Jwiz shuts the play down.
Just complete possession from G2. They're dribbling it, keeping it in the corners, and you saw JNAP's even earlier kept possession and still managed to take a boost.
Oh, and almost a flip reset leading to a rebound for Chicago. G2 threatening. Rizzo, good speed, prevents Karma from getting anything going. Chicago, double tap pass down. Nose Dude going for a clear. JNAP's up to Chicago. Chicago to Rizzo. Rizzo off the backboard. Does JNAP's have enough boost? Yes, he does. And G2 get their third goal of the game.
Everybody getting involved here. Chicago down to Rizzo. JNAP's with the follow-up. Jwizmon could have gotten up a little bit faster, but it's hard to keep track of where the ball's going. You just want to stay in net and try and have a save, but at that point, if you can't read what's going on, you're not going to get the save. G2 coming out with a great passing play.
And heads up turn there from JNAP's, recognizing that he's going to have an opportunity to go for that backward play. A little bit of an all-in play there from G2, but it paying off, and another goal here for JNAP's. He gets a hat trick.
Look at the way he hit the ball, specifically getting it down and under all of the defenders in the net. He doesn't even go for the right open because you saw Wismont get a little bit of height there. He could have had a chance to save it, so JNAP's just plops it right down.
And JNAP's now leading his team in goals.
Talk about goal differential now, James. We've got 4-0.
Yeah, they were listening. They must have the stream up.
They heard you.
Listening to our comms. So what it seems like is G2 has elevated their game. A miss, Nose Dude in the middle waiting.
What a
Not
save.
the greatest pass, and the follow-up shot from Karma does find its way through. It took a little bit, but Karma managing to push this one in.
Chicago did get a great save here, but unfortunately, JNAP's just barely too slow to come in for that final rotation, and Karma squeezed it through.
Close call there for Splyce, but just 47 seconds left on the clock. Down by 3. Now 4 if Chicago can get that one in. He gets a pass over to Rizzo. Chicago popping it back up. Rizzo looking for the drop, but Nose Dude finally getting the clear for Splyce. Counterattack for G2. Rizzo down to Chicago. Chicago blocked by Nose Dude.
And mechanics coming out from G2 as well. I just saw Chicago go for a great backboard hit, and he purposely backflipped so he could stay in position and not lose where he was. Really just creative and great skills coming out from G2.
Good decision making, good spacing, the passing there as G2 obliterate Splyce in game number 2.
Not many opportunities from Splyce. It felt like G2 was really just on point in all aspects of the pitch.
They certainly are, and especially JNAP's hitting all his shots, 3 goals on 6 shots. Chicago getting a goal and 2 assists. But everybody from G2 looking to make those passing plays.
Right, it wasn't even just a specific player, really. I mean, we saw JNAP's obviously come in with great performance here, but everybody was getting involved in almost every single goal. We saw that great passing play between all of them, really,
yeah.
And that builds confidence.
Absolutely. At G2, they're already sitting at 4-0,
yeah.
looking to like they're going to make it 5-0, and it looks like it's potentially going to be a sweep. And G2, you know, their goal differential might not be the greatest, but they still got the same record.
Exactly. They heard you,
else,
James.
so yeah.
They literally heard you talking.
But Rizzo, I think, you know, like you were saying, all three members doing great work for G2. Rizzo in the back, playing good defense, setting up these counterattacks. Chicago with excellent speed. Him and JNAPS just up front. Mm-hmm. They just seem too fast for Splyce to handle.
I definitely think Rizzo is probably the most flexible player here on the G2 squad. You know, some games you'll see him completely explode and pop off with great passes and mechanical abilities. But on other games like those, you'll see him just fill in the backfield when he needs to.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, when you have that flat car, the Dominus, when the ball's rolling back to you, you can get that easy pop and then get a nice hard hit over to your teammate.
The moon flick.
The moon flick. See how Splyce responds. Their series life on the line right here. Nose dude denying the backboard. Chicago couldn't get the pinch that he wanted. Quick counter from Splyce. Nose dude, a bounce shot. Saved by JNAPS. Rizzo on the side. Center to Chicago, who gets bumped out of the play. And now Wismont testing JNAPS, but JNAPS doesn't let the backboard play come to fruition for Splyce.
Maybe aggressive play is what Splyce needs here. Try and force G2 to hesitate at least a little bit. There's no hesitation from them at all, and they're just completely confident. So bumps can mess with positioning and could be something that Splyce could take advantage of here.
See if that physical gameplay is the answer for Splyce. As G2 controlled game number 2 completely. So Splyce have to find that adjustment in game 3. Chicago just a little bit slow. See the pop there from Rizzo. Very high. Karma taking over. A lob over to Chicago. Puts it down to the corner for Rizzo. Rizzo flipping towards it. And a good clear from G2 as JNAPS stops it out yet again in the midfield.
And interceptions as well. I feel like G2 is very well predicting a lot of these hits and passes that Splyce are trying to make, which honestly keeps the possession and like it forces their pressure to stay in the half.
And we're seeing it right now. G2 almost having a shot towards net there. Both players are whiffing on Splyce and G2. Double commit from Splyce. Rizzo hitting it over to Chicago. That pinch sends it back in favorable position now for J-Wiz. He's going for an air dribble. Gets it by JNAPS. Chicago will control it. Flicks it by and gets bumped a little bit out of the play. Chicago has been bumped quite a few times this series. JNAPS by 1. Center ball to Chicago, and Chicago strikes first for G2.
Just great speed. Rizzo, everybody get involved. JNAPS completely beating out his defender and gets a hard-hitting center. And he hits it perfectly in that corner as well because it didn't just stick to the wall. It actually bounced out, which is ideal when you're looking for a pass in that situation.
And Chicago and JNAPS, we talked about their speed. We brushed on it, and it was on display there. Beating out the defenders, getting that hard hit. Splyce now having a battle from behind. Center ball.
Double commit.
Wismont with the shot and a save from Chicago. That had to have been the chance for Splyce. And now on the other end, a long-range shot. Poston in Chicago extends the lead.
Absolute MVP moment here from Chicago. He got the save whenever both of his teammates double committed and then pushed forward and managed to capitalize on the other team. That is outstanding.
And you can't aim that much better. Poston in. Long ranger. Chicago now helping G2 get some insurance goals.
And you couldn't ask for more out of a new recruit from G2, a player who's able to take it into his own hands whenever you mess up. It's really what you want.
Chicago immediately fitting in with this team, even in the offseason. The performances at LANs. Chicago, fantastic addition to this roster. as G2 is inching closer and closer to a sweep over Splyce. JNaps over to Chicago. Chicago into the corner. He's going to keep with it, but gets beat to the ball by Karma. JNaps with a misread, also missed the boost. This could be a chance for Splyce. Nose dude, not able to center it, but Wismont, hard backboard hit, double commit from G2. Nose dude turns. Karma with some control. Tried to pop it over with the solo play. Still pressure from Splyce. JNaps getting it downfield. Final minute. G2 holding on so far.
And they have opportunities. Splyce, you see G2 double commit a couple times here and there, but Splyce just can't get solid passes to the point where they're able to capitalize and exploit what G2 are making mistakes on.
Splyce, they're out of time. They have to figure it out right now. Cut out by Rizzo. Good read on the passing play. It's just going to save his boost. Wismont, center ball, Chicago.
Speedy.
Look at that reaction time. Chicago. Good job from him, and JNaps getting in the way of the shot from Karma. It is now or never for Splyce. 10 seconds. And that clear is just going to eat time off the clock. Wismont off the ceiling, drop down, and the save coming out. And G2 hold on. They sweep it over Splyce. They made it look easy, Turtle.
Incorporating everybody, G2 were on their game this series. They did have a few mistakes here and there, but their speed and overall reaction abilities allowed them to keep the ball out of their own net.
Yeah, and you know who had that speed and reaction was definitely Chicago.
Yeah.
So fast, even on the defensive side of the ball. And this is the first goal of the game here, where Chicago just very quick. Him and JNaps leading the charge for G2. They're just so dangerous.
And the ball didn't stick to the corner. You see here JNaps gets right under the ball and didn't keep it in the corner where it would just kind of roll around, which makes it easier for the defender to save.
Yeah, it was just all-around domination from G2. It seemed like in Game 1, Splyce might be able to make this a series, right. But then when they gave up that lead, it just seemed like there was
It all started with that whiff from Dude with the nose. I don't want to specify that, but I think that was definitely a demoralizing moment because they had a chance that game. They could have done something, and especially against a team like G2, you want to start out strong.
And they did, but they couldn't hold it together. G2, they get the victory. They stay perfect on the season. We're going to go to a quick break, but when we come back, Ghost takes the field yet again, trying to get their second win this week and of the season. They'll be taking on Rogue. Don't miss it.